Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to our Mechbay series. Today we're taking a look at the Hellbringer, specifically the HBRC variant. And this thing is a clan heavy mech, 65 tons, that carries quite a punch. It is an omni-mech, so in BTA 3062, the first thing you'll notice should be that your internals are, well, not modifiable. There is a clan double heatsink kit on here, which is nice. But there's also an XL engine, Clan XL, that you cannot remove, and a Core 325 you cannot exchange, and E-cooling plus 3 you cannot increase or decrease, so some of this is less configurable than, well, the standard mech. Now the benefit you get for this is that, like all Omni-mechs, you don't have, well, you have a limited number, but you don't have limited types of hardpoints. So you can put anything that you want in any of these slots, well, as long as you don't outnumber the possible things there. Let me just, I guess, show you that real quick. If I wanted to slam on, say, well, anything else, I guess, this left arm, I can't. Too many weapons. So there are some limitations. It's not completely just anything you'd ever possibly want. Now, the Hellbringer C variant has an LBX AC-20, ATM 6, double ER medium, well, yeah, double ER medium, ER large, double ER small. And that's quite a capable multi-range sort of build, but there are problems, and I'm sure those of you who've seen other Mechbay episodes will be quick to point out what they are. First and most glaring is that we have, well, pretty poor armor on here for a heavy mech. I mean, right now our right torso and left torso match the standard armor maximum, well, not even the maximum, standard armor on, say, a UM R90, which is a 35-ton, well, literal trash can mech. So this is not good, and the way that we can fix that is by taking a look at the Clan LBX AC-20. I'm not a fan of LBX autocannons. I know the range is good, I know that the flexibility with ammunition is good, but I prefer Ultra autocannons, just quite a lot. And the other thing we can take a look at is the ATM-6. Now, I love ATM missile systems. They're wonderful. Flexibility and range and damage can be truly amazing, and I think even makes up for, you know, how overpowered Clan SRMs are, because it does offer you that flexibility. However, I have never once experienced a time where the ER ammunition is really truly necessary, so we're just going to pull that off. In fact, I tend to just run HE, but admittedly that's because I, well, run an ATM set on Timberwolf. It's very fast. The Hellbringer is also very fast, but 6.8 is not quite as quick, so I can't say that we would reliably get into that short range quite so often. That's part of what makes the LBX AC-20 here good instead of standard AC-20. But instead of the LBX, we're going to take a look at, oh, let me just get down to it. So, if we looked at a Clan Ultra AC-20, 10 tons, 4 slots. LBX AC-20, 12 tons, 8 slots. And that 2-ton difference is only exacerbated by the ammunition bins. So we need 3 because we're carrying 2 slug, 1 cluster. So we're going to pull off that LBX AC-20 ammunition and the LBX AC-20 itself, throw in an Ultra AC-20, and flip over here to our ammunition. And there's a lot of scrolling to do because we are in skirmish, not in an actual campaign. We're just taking a look at the full range of possible builds we can do. And we need ammo AC-20. This carries 5 shots per, so 2 tons will get you 10 shots, 5 volleys. It's not great, but it is an Ultra AC-20, so there's pretty serious recoil. Firing this thing every other turn is really not that bad of an idea, unless you have, you know, things to mitigate that, and we'll get there. We'll get to recoil mitigation and all of that, but first, we're still 3 tons overweight, and we can't put in ferro armor or anything like that to decrease this. So the Ultra AC-20, I think, maybe doesn't quite work. Now, you do have other options. You could pull off the ER large laser, but I really like that on this build. I think having something dealing reliable damage at 700 meters is a huge asset. So we're going to get rid of that Ultra AC-20, and we're going to take a look at something different. Namely, well, let me just scroll down to it, I apologize. We're going to look at a, oh, where is it? Give me a rotary AC-5, would you? Oh, there's lights, HVACs, It's just, there's a lot of options down here, I do apologize. Yes, here it is, rotary AC5. Nope, 10 tons, that doesn't quite work. So we're going to go to a Clan Ultra AC5. 7 tons. So we do save 3 additional over the Ultra AC20. It's not a huge weight saving, considering the drop-off in damage, which is pretty extreme. But, you know, 90 is still respectable. There's only 2 recoil on here, which is a lot easier to mitigate. And the really important part is down in the ammunition. Because if we take a look, 1 bin holds 15, which is 7.5 volleys. Right, so 2 of these is now 15 volleys. It's a much more comfortable amount of shots there, and we are going to drop our armor just a little bit. I actually don't want to drop any of that rear armor, it's already so low. But I do want 2 whole tons left, and now we can take a look at other sort of gear. So one way to get rid of recoil is to throw in a different gyro, but we already have an OmniMech gyro, and we can't drop that. We can't mitigate that at all, because all of our internals, well, they can't be messed with. What we can do is we can take a look at cockpit equipment. So here, if you had kept the LBX AC10, or if you decide to go with the Ultra AC20 and drop the ER large laser or something like that, the FCS Advanced TC can be a wonderful thing, because if you're firing only that Ultra AC20, that's 2 shots, but it's only off of 1 weapon. So you will get breaching shot if you fire just the Ultra AC20. It's very nice. With this build, however, we're going to be firing most of this, I'd say, with the ER large, ATMs, and Ultra AC5. Well, yeah, we're going to be firing most of this at the same time. So we might actually benefit more just from putting in a couple additional heat sinks. So let me show you what that looks like, and then we'll go and we'll throw the Ultra AC20 back on here, and we'll show you what that looks like instead. So what this would look like is just going in, getting 2 Clan double heat sinks. And now this is a relatively complete mech. You could argue, and I even might for this, that you'd be better off pulling off these ER smalls and shoving in an additional heatsink. That would be a total delta of, let's see, 22 from this, 6 from the heatsink, 28 heat, which would actually put you a little bit into being overcooled. So I would keep them, just because you're not going to be firing these all the time. They are ER, but they're still Clan small lasers, so your maximum range is only 200 meters. If you're not firing these, that's 22 that you're not building, which means that we're not alpha striking for 116. We're actually only striking for 94. So alpha striking for 94, heat sinking 90. That's about where you want to be. Much more than that, you'd start getting a little bit overcooled. But yeah, no, I mean, that's fine. You start building a little bit of heat, you drop one of the ER medium lasers for a single turn, and there you go, you're fine. Right? And the Ultra AC5 may jam every once in a while, so, yeah, that's okay. So now let's take a look at what you could do to try to make that Ultra AC20 work. So if we go back in there and we grab the Ultra AC20, all the way down at the bottom, there it is. Yeah. So we're 1 ton overweight. That's because of our armor choices. But I think that's pretty necessary, especially if you're running this guy as an Ultra AC20 sort of brawler. What we're going to do is we're going to pull off the ATM. And the reason is because if we need weight over anything else, we need to do this with Clan SRM6s. So Clan SRM6s are 1.5 tons, as opposed to the standard 3 for our Inner Sphere SRM6. So we'll do that, and we'll throw in a single ton of SRM ammunition, which will go right here, and then we can go over to our Ultra AC20 ammunition and throw 2 of those on, and there you go. So this is just, I don't know, it's not very heat efficient. What you're going to be doing, so the Ultra AC20 does build a surprising amount of heat, right? So that's part of what's causing our heat efficiency to be just absolutely down the drain. And so do Clan SRM6s. 16 for an SRM6 is a lot of heat compared to the Inner Sphere variant. So one thing you could consider is sacrificing some other punch, right? So here I would actually recommend taking off the ER smalls. I wouldn't necessarily say you need to throw another heatsink in. What I might recommend is pulling a 3rd bin of Ultra AC20 ammunition, because only being able to fire this double fire mode 5 times is a little bit slim pickings. So this brings you up to 7.5 full volleys, well 7 full volleys in a single shot, or more spread out single shots should that be what you want. We haven't even messed with the cockpit like I kind of said we would. I don't know. I don't tend to find that it's too useful to throw stuff in there in the Mechbay because, well, being able to see all the equipment here is very different from being able to find it on campaign. So generally, these are always improvements. So if you get them, throw them on. Alright, well I think that'll do for a build for today. I guess one other thing to note is that if you really wanted to go crazy, you could tear off the ER large, throw back in a couple more SRM6s, or actually the way that I would probably do this, just to keep things a little bit, well, you know what, let's do it this way. Yeah, let's throw on 2 more Clan SRM6s, and an additional ton of SRM ammunition. And now we've changed this thing into a, well, you know what? Let's really go for bro. Let's prove that there is some usefulness to taking a look at the cockpit section. Throw in an FCS Artemis 4, and now we can go into our SRM ammo and throw in Artemis 4 SRM ammunition. Now, I do absolutely love Artemis 4 SRM ammunition. I mean, +2 pips, it's basically like getting pretty close to a streak weapon without having the additional tonnage, because streaks don't have the mitigated tonnage of clan SRM6s. And now we're firing SRM16. That's a lot of punch at close range. You can see that reflected in the stats up here up top as well. And slight increase in heat efficiency still because, well, we ripped off the ER large laser. Just don't expect this thing to be nearly as good of a mid to long range sort of skirmisher mech as the other build that we just looked through. So there it is. That's 2 options I would run with the Hellbringer. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.